hierarchy had decided on what we call a 400-year plan, which is now activated. And that 400-year plan called for what we would term an international language. And the international language is English. And Saint Germain was also Shakespeare. And as Francis Bacon, he literally doubled the size of the English language himself, just as Chaucer doubled the English language in his day. Saint Germain, as Shakespeare, who also was the one who translated the King James Version of the Bible. He should have been the king, but King James was brought in because his mother, Queen Elizabeth, wouldn't recognize him. So they brought in James I of Scotland, and Francis became his minister, his keeper of the seal. So the Bible was dedicated to James. That's why they call it the King James Version. But all of this work was done for hierarchy, for this time, for a particular reason, and because of Saint Germain, to come into the Aquarian Age with a language that seemed to be the language of commerce worldwide, gave it a precedent for people to learn it in other countries. And therefore the teaching is released in English, which I've heard them say is the closest thing to the language of the angels. So whether that is true or not, I really can't verify, but that's what I've heard. So looking at it from that standpoint, I say, well, this plan of the language was so that we could communicate, and we're doing this through the internet worldwide. I remember my first encounter of Blavatsky was when I was 12, and I remember specifically why I was attracted to her, and I recognized her picture on the front cover of an abridged version of The Secret Doctrine, and I've been reading it ever since. So I see that the internet and the ability to communicate is really relegated to the fact of whether or not we can speak. Can we speak? Do we speak the common language? Is there a common language? It's a combination of the Manu, the world teacher, and the Holy Spirit that decides in each age what will be the predominant way to reach the higher self. And that's why we've gone into a new age. That's why decreeing, what it amounts to is that prayer was a silent thing that we did with ourselves, and it worked to the point where it worked. But one of the problems with that is it tends to leave things in the upper planes. If I think about something, it stays in the mental plane. If I feel about it, if I really feel about it, it's beginning to take on form. It's in the emotional plane or the astral plane. But to bring it into the physical, the nexus of bringing it into the physical is the throat chakra or the blue ray, so I have to speak it. Like I could sit here and stare at you guys for 2 hours, and I wonder how much of the teachings you would pick up. I think it's probably more effective for me to talk about it. And that's why Saint Germain said, well, it isn't enough to pray. Go in your closet and pray. That's helpful, but we need to speak about it. That's why they're saying, hey, say these things out loud. That's why a decree is appropriate for now, and a prayer was more appropriate 2,000 years ago. Okay?